Welcome to the Black Mental Health Forum, a dedicated space for fostering meaningful conversations, support, and resources around mental health within the Black community. Our forums aim to break down the barriers of silence and stigma, providing a platform for open dialogue, shared experiences, and valuable insights. Whether you're seeking guidance, resources, or simply want to engage in a supportive community, you're in the right place. Together, let's nurture a culture of understanding, compassion, and empowerment. Thank you for joining us on this journey towards mental well being. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Black Mental Health Forum. Today we have Miss Karen Frazier. Hallelujah. In the name of Jesus, we got Miss Karen Frazier here. She's a virtual assistant. She's here to help the mental health professionals to release some of the stress in their jobs or in their businesses. Today, the topic is virtual assistance benefits for mental health professionals. Miss Karen, introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. Hi, I'm Karen. Thank you for having me here today. But yes, my name is Karen Frazier. I am a virtual assistant based out of New York City. I work with healthcare professionals and I assist them with administrative tasks in their business, but my particular niche are credentialing and medical billing. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, the first question is, how do you define the role of a virtual assistant in the context of mental health professionals?
Okay, so the role of a virtual assistant in the context of a healthcare professional is somewhat to be a support system to the mental health professional, right? You're relieving you. That's exactly what you do. Uploading and relieving stress for them, meaning you taking on the bulk of the work when it comes to administrative work. If that professionals need to reschedule patients, right? Order medications or order labs, right? Or even let's say research something for the professional, whatever it is that they need to research on. This is where we step in and help them alleviate some of the stress of the day to day when it comes to running a business.
Thank you. If you can, what are some specific tasks, and you just hit on some, and responsibilities do mental health virtual assistants typically handle for their clients?
Okay, so there are multiple of tasks. They could be social media. They can handle social media as well. They could do medical billing. They could do transcribing. They could order lab. They could do customer service support. They can handle credentialing. They can handle even automation. That's also within part of a niche as well. So when it comes to a healthcare assistant, they could handle pretty much anything you could do within an office space, they could do, right? But it's all based on the person's knowledge of that particular task and how long they've been doing it. Because nobody, and also the person's ability to want to learn something new as well. That's another aspect of it as well. So those are typically some of the tasks that the healthcare virtual assistant can do for the healthcare professional. Just a few, because it's a lot. Just a few of them.
Thank you. Okay. Next question. Given the sensitive nature of mental health information, how do you ensure the confidentiality and security of the client data?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is HIPAA training. I'm a HIPAA. I believe that HIPAA needs to be involved, meaning the VA have to have HIPAA compliant training, a certification, right? Saying that they knowledge of HIPAA, they knowledge of the confidentiality part. And I will also say, as far as maybe even signing an NDA, right? Because that's privacy, right? That's patient information. Let me say, when I work with clients, the information that you get, right? Not only patient information, but also the schedule of the provider, especially if they link their personal schedule with, depending on the software that they're using. They can link their personal schedule with the software. So all of that makes a difference. You could even do as far as a business associate agreement, and that's part of HIPAA. So those are the things that I always suggest a healthcare professional to have. That's on the form side, on the legal side, right? To protect yourself, protect your patients, and protect your overall of your business. But also have that conversation as expectations, right? What is it that you're looking for me to do, right? What is it that you want? What exactly you? So it all start with. I feel it always start with the professional itself, knowing what the expectations are. Have that conversation when you first decide to hire someone, right? And then move forward from there. But I always say to people, you're not stuck to working with one person if you feel like that person cannot offer this that what you're looking for. If you notice that this the person maybe, for example, you might consider I would suggest work with somebody for 90 days. And the reason why I suggest that is because it allows you, it gives you the time to see how you work, right? It's a partnership. I'm getting to know you, and you're getting to know me. Right? So if within those 90 days you realize that maybe you guys don't work well together, it's okay. You can always say, "Listen, it was great working with you," and go find somebody who can give you what it is that you're looking for. Right? So those are the things that I would definitely share.
Thank you. We were talking before we started the episode, and we were talking about hiring a VA. Some of us don't even know where to begin.
Yes.
Give me that process, if you will.
Okay. So I will always say word of mouth, right? Because the word of mouth, if you know somebody within your niche, a colleague that hires a VA, ask a colleague, right? Are you part of a medical group or specialized group? Ask those people, right? Because there's always somebody that can tell you they have somebody and they great, or just recommend somebody to you. So I'll start there. Start from the people that are closest to you, whether it's a group, family, friends. Start from that place first. Then after that, I would say do the research. LinkedIn is a great aspect, right? There you could do social media. LinkedIn is the first thing because you look for the person. Then if the person have, let's say, a Google page, you can look up the person's website. If they have a website, you can look at their website, look at the reviews that they have that they have for their business, right? That's the first process. Once you start there, the second part of that is you knowing what it is that you want. Understand what it is you want for yourself. What tasks do you need? Write those because write those tasks down because I feel like that's a challenge sometimes where healthcare professionals don't always know what it is that they need help with. So write those tasks down. Write a list down. What day-to-day things that you do in your business that take you so much time, right? Answering those phones are time takers. Rescheduling patients, especially if you have a volume-based business, right? When you start, maybe not, but as you grow, the phones are gonna ring. You're gonna miss a lot of appointments. A missed appointment is money being missed, right? So write that stuff down. What it is that you need the VA to do for you. Once you know what it is that you know that you need them to do, write down your budget. Right? How much hours do you need somebody to do for you? Then from there, start the hiring process, having a conversation, right? Maybe interview more than one person. Now, if you have somebody that you've been watching for a long time, then maybe you already know you might have somebody already in mind. But if you don't have anybody particular in mind, I would suggest interviewing more than one person, right? Just to make sure to see if your goals and your values align. So that's the first step that I would say as far as finding a VA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good information because we were talking about
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur. It can be a lonely journey,
Yes, it can.
and it's very stressful because you're
Mhm.
doing all the things and a lot of the research that I have found, which is YouTube.
Mhm.
In order to move to the next level in your business, you've got to start delegating. You've got to start taking off some of the things that you're doing because, like you said, you if you stuck working in the business, you won't be working on the business. You
Yeah.
won't be doing what you started the business for.
Right. Because it can be both. I know at first maybe essentially it could be both. But with time, it cannot be both. I mean, I don't care what anybody say. Personally, me, I don't think it can be both, especially if you're looking to scale. Right? You cannot be in there answering phone, taking emails, and doing all of that, the administrative work, and you want to network with other people. You want to get federal contracting. You want to figure out how can you expand your brand. It doesn't. Something has to. Something gonna have to be let go, right? And that might be like you just mentioned, delegating, finding someone. But in finding somebody, it's about finding the right person, right? Somebody who's open and willing to learn. And as a professional, I know people assume, right, that a VA should come upload and ready to work for you. But I want to say this: every VA, because every person have their own way of working, right? Everybody have their own way of doing things. So I always do recommend to train the VA, just because you have your preference. You know how you want things to be done, you know. So I always say to the professionals, train your VA just because you want them to know how you want things to be done. So I think that's important, to be honest, just to have that conversation as far as, what are you looking for? What do you want? Um, your expectation, your working style, your communication style, right? Because the VA could be an asset in a way that they could automate and systemize a lot of your processes. You know, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question. What communication strategies do you employ to effectively work with mental health professionals who may have unique communication preferences?
I mean, for me, it all depends on what the professional wants, right? Because everybody doesn't care for email communication, right? Everybody don't care for text communication. It all depends on what the person preference is and what is the best way for them to get the response that you need. If depending on the circumstance, how quickly you need that response, right? So I always say the preference depends on the person that you're working with. And I think that it's good to ask up front, like I do. Like, what is your preferable communication style? Do you prefer me to text you, email, call you, or a combination of all, right? So always ask. There's no wrong in asking, just because professionals are busy. If they're seeing a client, they're not going to be able to answer you right away. So I say ask.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Can you share some of the essential tech tools and platforms you use to support mental health professionals in your virtual assistant role?
Yes, the tools that I mostly use is Zoom for my weekly meeting. I highly suggest a weekly meeting. I always suggest a goal. I'm very goal orientated, so I always like to suggest, like, what is the goal, right? Because yes, we are VAs, we taking the administrative tasks off, but at the same time, there should be a goal. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help your business grow. Whatever that is for you, that's what my task is, to help you out, right? If I see something that can help you, I'm gonna send it to you. Hey, listen, I saw this. I think it'd be good. I know we talked about this before, but I saw this. I came across this. Check this out. Right? That's a way of adding value to your client, right? Um, because I truly believe that if you're winning, I'm winning, right? So if you're happy with my service, that's gonna help me too. If you allow me to learn, that's gonna help me too. So as far as tools, I say Zoom is one of them, whatever EHR platform that they're using, right? Because everybody have their own platform that they're using. And an old good phone, right? To have that conversation, that texting style. It don't have to be too complicated. If you like Slack, they got so many options when it comes to tech tools. But for me, with the professionals that I use, is very simple. It's my email, because emails back and forth, right? My phone, because I have to call insurance, whatever I'm doing, or Zoom, because we have to do weekly meetings. That's the gist of it. But it really depends on each business. Every business have their own tech tools and what they like, based on preference for the clients, based on preference conversations that they have with each other.
And it's about working smart and not hard.
Yes, it is. It
And
is.
it's about being effective,
Yes.
because I'm learning in my research that you don't have to go and buy everything you see or the shiny new thing, because that's how you end up losing a lot of money and wasting a lot
Yes.
of time. So yeah, I do agree with you there.
Yeah, yeah. People feel like you have to have the biggest and the most expensive things, and you really don't, Carolyn. It's really about, like you said, being smart. I'd rather put my money towards growing myself, right? Growing my knowledge for my clients. That's what I'd rather put my money towards, right? Because anything that I'm learning is going to be applied towards the clients that I have, right? So I always suggest, if you're going to put anything expensive or you're going to willing to spend any kind of money as a VA, put it towards your knowledge, right? Towards your that can help you grow yourself and help your clients relieve some of the stress. Automation is one thing. I realize that in healthcare, because we do so much hands on, right? Meaning we gotta call, we gotta reschedule, we gotta, notify the patient if the appointment is need to be canceled and rescheduled, depending on the system that you have. Sometimes that could be time consuming. So automation could save a lot of these times, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, if we are in the customer service field. Yes, in the healthcare field per se, but we are here to serve. Really what we're here to do, right? And in serving, that also means listening, right? Trying to understand the client, not just the client, but the patient. Because I tell you this, depending on who answers that phone, that could deter the patient from scheduling an appointment with your business or not. Okay, so if the VA is friendly, warm, kind, open minded, and just willing to listen to the patient that's scheduling an appointment, because everybody has a reason. And some people have been to mental health before, had a very bad experience. So you always want to give that person chance to explain themselves, right? Ask questions. This is where the training part comes in, because allow the VA to know how long you've been in business, right? Have them understand your brand. And the reason why I say that, right, is because if a patient asks you, how long this doctor been a professional, let's say, how long they've been a psychiatrist, or how long they've been doing mental health. If you say, oh, I don't know, I don't know how long, like that's would you like that's not gonna make you feel comfortable. But if you say, "Hey, she's been in business for 10 years. She values communication. She values empathy," that's gonna make me want to. Okay, let me book an appointment with you then. So it's always good to know, train your VA on what your values in your business is. So when they have that patient that have questions, they know how to answer that question, because that makes a difference between that patient booking with you or booking with somebody else. You know.
That's awesome. Well, and this is not on the questions that I sent you, but question is, um, when you take on a new client, name some things that you need from them, from your new client.
Let's see. I need somebody who's open minded, meaning that they understand that I'm here. Yes, I'm your VA. You hired me to be your VA, but you also hired for me to provide you my insight, right? If I see something where it could be better for your business, but I say, hey, I think this will be better for you, they're open minded enough to at least hear it. And if they say no, then it's a no, right? But at least open enough to hear it. Okay, so I definitely need somebody who's open. I like to work with somebody who's open minded. I like to work with somebody who allows me to ask questions, right? Because I'm learning. I love learning. I love asking questions. That's just who I am. So if I'm able to learn from my client and they allow me to ask questions, right, that helps me too, right? So definitely somebody who's communication, respectful towards each other. I think those are good attributes to have, right? Somebody who's adaptable, because those things are important. Things we all know. It's healthcare, things always changing, the swift for the second. So you have to be adaptable, you know. So those are
Thank
the
you.
things that I think is important to have. Just a few.
And honestly, that's really across the board because
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you don't know how to treat your employees, your vendors, you're gonna lose
yeah.
everybody. So,
Hmm.
but I thank you. It's good to know. It's good to know who your ideal client is, and that's where a lot of us new entrepreneurs we don't know who our ideal clients are. and we think we want to serve everybody, but you end up serving nobody.
Yeah, yeah. And even on the flip side, right? If you're a healthcare professional who's looking to hire a VA, know what qualities you want in a VA, right? And I always say this: if you compare the VA and a client relationship, you ever been in a speedboat, right? You in a speedboat, the professional is inside driving the speedboat, and the healthcare is the one hanging in the side and the back of the boat. If you are everywhere, I'm gonna be everywhere, right? So I always say, know what it is that you want, so that you could be able to articulate that to the VA, right? Because if you don't know what you want and you everywhere, the VA is gonna be everywhere. So it's always good to know what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you need, right? What it is that you want in a VA, what it is that you want the VA to do for you, right? What is your expectations? Say that thing up front, right? That way you could build a better relationship, because there's nothing greater, from my experience, when you have a good relationship with your VA, right? It's not just transactional, because now I know a little bit about your family, you know a little bit about my family, right? We become kind of connected in that way. So I always say, it's a human connection. It's two people helping each other. Yeah, yes, we technically in business, but it's also a reciprocal relationship too. I learn from you, you learn from me. If I see something that could value you, I'll bring it to you, right?
Hmm. And I'm thinking back to when we were talking about hiring a VA,
Yeah,
and um, and we were talking earlier that uh, starting to delegate when you're starting out, you don't have a lot of money if
yeah,
you have anything coming in.
yeah,
But we already know, like we said earlier, that if you want to move to the next level, you want to scale, you have to start delegating. And so, and I say that to say this is that to hire a VA or a social media manager or whatever you need, start off small, maybe an hour a day, an hour a week,
right.
or 1 hour or 5 hours a week, which is an hour. You know what I'm saying? And so if you find someone that is $40 an hour, that's an extra, just $200 that you need to find so that you can hire this VA.
Yes,
Take all of this off your plate. So the question is what are you going to do to find that 200 to pay that VA to take that slew of projects off your hand so that you can go and network and increase your clientele. Am I
yeah.
right?
No, I mean, listen, I agree with you 100% on that. Because I always find you might have a list of things that you need in your business, but your budget does not give to hire somebody, let's say 40 hours a month, right? But you can only hire somebody 15 hours a month. And that's okay, right? That's okay. That just means that you have to prioritize the task that's going to help you gear towards the growth that you're looking for, right? That's essentially what that means. Just write down what is the task that you really know that's going to allow you to pivot that business towards the growth that you're looking for, and then hire that person based off of that, right? Write those tasks down, and then you'll be able to grow. Little by little, if you like the way the person works, you can always increase the hours. It's nothing written in stone, right? It's nothing written in stone. There's always space for growth. There's always space to increase the hours if need. As you grow, you could increase the hours, the person hours, but always start small. Always start small, and eventually you grow from there. But always prioritize what's really important. What's really going to gear your business towards the growth that you're looking for. Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
in a virtual setting, how do you facilitate collaboration and coordination between the mental health professional and the client?
Okay, so one way I would say that is that depending on the system that they use, right? Confirming appointments, because I know sometimes patients who have live, they forget things. So you always want to make sure that the patient understand how to access the session, right?
Oh,
Especially if it's a new patient. A lot of the time they might not understand how to access the session, they might not know how to access the session. Just make sure that you are that bridge, because that's essentially what you are. You are the bridge between the patient and the providers. I'm not in the session. I'm the That's confident, that's between the patient and the provider. I'm not in that. But what I can do is tell you, hey, send you a message or give you a call and say, listen, I know you have an appointment at this at 5 o'clock. Just make sure that you link, this is the link that you need to access the session, or this is how you will access the session, right? So they are aware of how to go about doing that, especially when it comes to the new intakes. Because somebody that you had for a while, they already know how, they should kind of know already how to enter that session. But if somebody that never had it, this is where you become the bridge, because this is how appointments get missed, because the patient is late, because they've been trying to figure out, how do I get this session? Like, nobody told me how to do it. So to eliminate that, have that communication, right? Let them know, hey, this is how you get to the session. So this is how you collaborate between patient and the providers, right? Be that bridge. Essentially, that's what we are. We are technically the bridge between those two collaborations.
I think what I'm thinking about is the virtual assistants and therapists or and counselors. This is
Mm-hmm.
where most of my thoughts are, and especially the solopreneur.
Yeah.
And like you said, like we were talking about earlier, it's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to schedule patients. You got to, I mean, it's a laundry list. So I really believe a virtual assistant would truly be a benefit for, especially a new therapist that just opened their practice. How do
Yes.
you, how do you, how do you, how do you handle the new therapist or counselor that's, I mean, that's brand new, open their business, and of course they're running ragged. How do you even approach them to even thinking along the lines of a virtual assistant?
Well, one thing, if there's somebody, a new therapist that just opened a practice, I would definitely come from a space of just letting them know how uh what value a VA could bring, right? Meaning the value of time, right? Because we could all make money, but you can never take back time, right? So while you up here, trying to figure out while you trying to figure out how to credential yourself, while you're trying to figure out how to reschedule the patient, like, so those things are time consuming tasks, right? And then you can always tell them, hey, listen, I know people sometimes see money, like they see the equate of money, right? Like, oh my God, I gotta give this person, let's say, $600 or whatever the fee that they have, right? But it's really about, what is your business, your time, and your energy worth to you, right? Can you get those things back? You can't. So if you're willing to just putting a little bit of money to allow that person to help you, allow that person to take in those tasks that are time consuming, you know, then I think that will help the provider see the benefit, help the provider see that, okay, I have somebody doing this for me. Let me focus on growing. Let me focus on connecting. Let me focus on networking. Let me focus on trying to understand how can I get certifications. Let me focus how to get federal contracting, work, things of that nature, right? So these are the things that I always like to actually tell my clients, like, listen, I'm the VA. This is what I do, but I want you to focus on things that are going to help you grow, right? Make sure that you're not missing any appointments, because missed appointment means missed money, right? That means that every time the phone rings, I'm answering those phones. Make sure I have a patient need to be rescheduled or a patient canceled. I follow up with that patient and see, hey, do you want to reschedule, right? Do you need to be rescheduled? Having that communication that between you and the patient too. That's a bigger aspect of it, really, because if the patient does not feel comfortable with the person that's gonna call them, right? They don't feel heard. They don't feel welcome. that's going to deter a person from wanting to book with you, right? So I think depending on who you hire makes a difference. I really think it does. I really think that depending on who you hire make a difference. So you have to make sure that you what qualities are you looking in a VA when it comes to just starting a business.
I do agree. I do agree, and that main thing was on my mind because that's the area that I'm in, mental health,
Yeah.
and I wanted to show the therapists and the counselors, and even coaches, because I'm
Yeah.
starting to connect with coaches and mentors. I want to let them know that having a VA, personal assistant, social manager, social media manager, all these people, they can really help you move to the next level. Although I'm learning, but that's what I'm after now. I want to see what I can do to get that extra money to hire my first VA.
Yeah, I think that's the point. And I would even add a tip to that. Like I would add on to what you just mentioned. I find that a lot of professionals they don't want to, they have this idea where I know my process, I know what I'm doing. Can nobody do it the way I do it? Yeah, nobody could do it the way you do it, but if you're willing to train somebody, guess what? They could do it the way you do it, maybe even better than you, right? They can help your process better. They could even enhance your process better, right? But it's all about releasing that control. A lot of us is that we start, and I get it, right? As a business owner, I get it. Like you have a certain flow, you understand the processes, you understand the flow. So releasing that control, it could be challenging, but in the process of you not wanting to let go, you stuck in the same place, right? You being burned out, right? So is all that really worth it, right? Being stuck in the same place, being burnt out, feeling exhausted, especially if you work and have a business, right? Especially because some professionals have a regular still work, a corporate job, and have they practice on the side. Something's gonna be dropped, right? When that phone rings for those patients, you're not going to be able to answer it because you're in your business, right? You work. So why not have a VA while you work in your 9 to 5? They are answering your phone, so you know them calls are being booked, right? So you know that you're not missing a patient call, right? Or you could be going to school, right? You elevating your knowledge. So while you going to school and learning thesis papers, your VA could be up there answering on phones for you, right? Your VA could be up there trying to get your credential, right? Your VA could be up there doing your billing. Your VA could be up there answering your emails. Excuse me. So it's all about the professionals seeing the value in their business and seeing the value in what they're gonna get exponentially. So if they don't see it, they just not, they're just not gonna see it. I'm sorry to say it, just not. But it's all about releasing that control and understanding that, yeah, you got it. I understand you have your processes, but guess what? Allow somebody to come in and see maybe there's a crack. Audit. Let somebody audit your processes. Because in them auditing, they can see the cracks that you might have missed, that they could elevate that system that you have. So yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I have really have noticed, they don't want to they're like this, they don't want to let it go, but you have to be able to let go. You have to be allow the person to come in and step in and see and pay attention and notice, hey, this could be better for you. I think this would be better for you, right? The right way will do that for you. The right way is not going to be, it's going to be honest with you. Everybody want honesty until they get honesty, they don't know how to take it, right? Because we all think that our system is the best system there is. So I always say allow somebody to come in and see those things, right? Give the person a chance because you might never know what that person could do for you.
And I thank you for that because I'm even thinking just on a human level, what
Yeah,
if what if you get sick and you can't perform your duties? So everything stops if you don't have
yes,
VA there to come up and just take over. What needs to be done.
yeah,
That's just hit me while you were talking.
yeah, that's true. We humans. We get sick. We're gonna get a cold. We're gonna get, come on, corona. Then we just had corona. A lot of people got corona still around, right? So all these things are still happening. You have a family. What if you have a family? What if you have to go to your kids school program or your kids' school activities? Like Your business stops because you have family? No, this is where the VA compliments to you. It's an addition to you, right? It doesn't take. They're not taking away from you. The right VA will add value to your business, right? The right VA is a partnership, right? The right VA is a reciprocal relationship, right? So once you find the person that you you see is worth, then allow that person to come in, allow that person to enhance, allow that person to help you, right? Because essentially that is what they're doing. They are supporting, they're helping, they're consulting, right? So, but that all based on the person allowing that, being open minded enough to allow that to happen, right? Is releasing the control aspect of things, right? So, I always say, when working in professionals, if I see that you're not allowing me to do things, I'm okay to say, you know what, I appreciate it. It just might not be the best fit, right? And it's okay, and that's okay too. But I think that that's part of it, allowing the person to step in, right? And I get that too because sometimes professionals have bad experience with other VAs, so I get that as well, Carolyn. I understand that, but I always say I didn't do that to you. So I feel bad that that happened to you, and that's not right. Whatever the experience, I don't ask details because I never do, because I feel like it's none of my business. But I do. If they say I had a bad experience, I say I'm sorry that happened to you. And sometimes I, depending on what it is, if they feel comfortable to share, then I listen. Just to be mindful of the person experience, right? Because you never want to shut down somebody's experiences. But I always, for me, it's like, listen, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm not here to do anything like that. I'm here to help you elevate, right? And if that's something that you're looking for, then we could work. But if there's some apprehension there, then maybe you have to think about it a little bit more, and that's okay, you know. So, but I think it's also part of the VA being honest and you being honest with yourself too, you know.
And then also a good VA who is about her business will
Yeah.
have references.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that will help alleviate some hesitation on the business, the business owner or the entrepreneur. Here are my references. You can
Yes.
call them and
Right.
mhm.
That's a good point. Ask the person, hey, can I get references to your other clients, right? To just to make you feel comfortable, because I think it's all about the person feeling secure, right? That's a good valid point. Ask them for references. Hey, can I get either one or two of your clients' references? And if their VA is comfortable, they're gonna give you the references without a problem, right? So I think that that's a key. It's nothing wrong with that. Ask for references. Make sure the person's able to do what they say they're gonna do. I understand certain things are learned on the job type thing, and I understand that too. But certain things they should kind of already have an idea of doing, right? As far as customer service support, answering the phone, that should be something that should kind of come quick, especially if you've been in the business for a long time. Meaning, if you've been in the healthcare field for a long time, right? Conflict some people are not good at conflict resolution, right? Because that's all based on individual thing. So that's another aspect of that too, knowing how to do conflict. Because I always feel like this. One aspect of the VA is conflict resolution, because as part of alleviating problems for your client, it's not bringing them every problem to the step, right? Meaning that if there's an issue with a client, let's say it's an issue with a medication, the client calls, hey, I didn't get my medication, or I didn't get my lab, or I don't get this, or whatever, something that you know that you can do within your scope, just deal with it. Just handle it. I don't have to come call you like, hey, so and so called because no, just deal with that, right? That's part of conflict resolution. Everything don't have to be brought up to the professional. So I think it's also good to see how the VA handle conflict resolution, right? Because you also, when there's something that really do have to be talked about, of course it's important to have the conversation. But when it's of something minor that they can handle, a lot, they shouldn't bring it up to you. Everything should not be brought up to the person's that. That is my personal take. I think certain things that you should be able to handle, little things, right? You should be able to handle them, deal with them, and then move on from there.
I like what you said because that made me think about what we talked about, or what you had mentioned earlier about having a weekly meeting.
Yes.
just to see what happened during that week. Is there anything, any process that we can enhance on, or whatever. So I like.
Yeah, I think weekly meetings are valuable just because it allows you to see, okay, what did we left off last week that we need to carry over to this week to complete, right? Like what like are we like, especially if the person have a certain task or certain goal that they have in mind, the right? Are we in gear for whatever goal that they have, or they're researching something, right? Or were you able to, So I think weekly meetings are valuable just because if we touch base, and it don't always have to be Zoom. It could be a phone call. It all depends on it's preferable, right? It's based on what two people like. But also, I always say have that meeting, have that conversation, touch base with each other. Hey, what are we doing? Are we good from last week? What are we doing this week? What is the goal for this week? Right? What are we doing for this week? So I always feel like weekly meetings are very now I understand the professional might be busy, so maybe they cannot do weekly meetings. Maybe they could do monthly meetings, right? So it's based on preference because I understand life. I understand they're busy. I understand they have family. I get it. Sometimes weekly might not be the best thing, but maybe you could both agree on every twice a month, right? Catch up twice a month, every Thursday at 5, every other Thursday at 5. This is where we're gonna meet, and have that set up on your calendar so y'all both know every other Thursday at 5. Y'all both gonna catch up with each other, right? But I think that meetings follow up is important, regardless of how you guys select the time. That should definitely be a conversation to have.
Awesome. Last question, and this pertains to you as a
Yeah.
VA. What do you do for your self-care? How do you how do you handle, especially if you got a full load of clients? What do you do for self-care? Because we're talking about
Yeah.
alleviating, other people's, but what about you?
Okay, so my favorite self care is I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews. So that's one of the things that I love to do is spending time with my nieces and nephews. Because they're fun. I think kids are funny, so I like to spend time with them. Or sometimes I just like to be around nature. Or sometimes I just, like one thing I started to do honestly is take a trip quarterly, right? Uh, a weekend trip somewhere. It don't have to be taking a flight anywhere, right? It could be just driving or a 2-hour bus ride or something like that. So that's one of the things that I started to implement is take a quarterly trip, and then another thing that I want that I'm glad that I just started doing is unplug, right? Because we always these phones and the social media is always in our faces, always. So I like to unplug, right? After a certain time, I'm radio silent. You will not hear from me. I will not be on social media. I might go to the movies. I live in New York County. There's always something to do in New York. I might go to a play or I might go to the museum, just be outside, right? Enjoying life, doing things that I enjoy. So that is how I do self-care.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last question. And before we go, is there one tip that you want to leave with the audience in reference to a VA?
Yes. I feel like the one tip that I would give is definitely take the time to understand what it is that you need before you hire the VA, right? Understand what tasks you need, the budget that you have, right? What is the expectation that you have for the VA that you're going to be hiring, right? But it also always, always, always starts with you, right? Always starts with you knowing what it is that your needs and wants are. And then that way you can convey it to the person that you're going to be hiring. So that would be my tip. Always figure out what you want and what you need first to be able to convey it to somebody else.
Thank you, Miss
Thank
Karen Fraser, for
you.
that wonderful information, specifically for the mental health professionals, because mental health is a buzzword now. The you have, it's a buzzword, and I don't want it to just be a buzzword. I want it to really help people. And so, and I know some people are going to look at this episode and it's like, this has nothing to do with mental health, but yes, it
It
does.
does.
This is part of your mental well-being, because one
Yes.
thing that I've learned, there's a difference between mental health and your mental well-being. Your mental well-being or mental health Your mental well-being is learning to be able to be resilient, bouncing back, having good healthy coping skills.
Yes.
But everybody has mental health, but not everybody has good mental health well-being.
Yes, and that's a good point. Just being able to ask for help, right? Being able to say, you know what, and being real with yourself to say, all right, I've been doing this for however long I've been doing this. I'm starting to feel burned out. I'm starting to feel tired. I really need help now. I need to bring somebody in to help me out. That is an aspect of mental health because you're considering your own well being, right? You
Mhm.
know that you've been doing this for however long you've been doing this. Let me ask for help. Let me reach outside of myself to find somebody who can take some of this load off of me. That is well-being. That is being able to be strong enough to say that, being vulnerable with yourself to be able to say those things. I don't know. Some people, I guess, they find it challenging to want to ask for help, but in asking for help, you saving yourself, right? And asking for help, you're making yourself your family appreciates it, right? You're not you're giving yourself and your family the best version of yourself. So yeah, this I think just asking for help is just essential. I think there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make you weaker. It doesn't make you anything else than somebody who understands themselves.
Yes, that's courage.
Yeah. Yes.
Really
Yep.
courage.
That's
I
right.
found out that courage is not the absence of fear. It's still moving forward, even though you have fear.
That's the word for the day.
That's a word for today.
That's true.
We thank you for being here with us and sharing all this valuable information. I pray that someone look at the video and start to consider taking
Yes.
on a VA. Begin the process because it will really help. Because I'm looking into myself, even though I'm just starting, but you can. It's best to start looking into the process now
Yeah.
and then to because when you look up and find that you need a VA, it's too late. You should you said I'm
Yeah.
saying you should have
Yeah.
already and by that time you're frantic.
Yeah, by the time you're tired, you're exhausted. You never want to do things from a place of desperation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could overlook certain things. So you always want to do things before your mind is clear. You're not at that place of burnout. You're able to ask the right questions. You're able to really see from a great lens, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
always that's a good point as far as just finding someone with time before you get to that place of desperation. Oh, I just need somebody. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, needs to hire. So I think that just starting before you need someone, right? It's like insurance. You don't get insurance, so you need insurance. Right? You get insurance before you need it, right?
That's, and that's
so
the
it's
same thing I say about therapists. Find you a therapist now while you don't need her or him. So when you do need that person, you are already connected to them.
yeah, that's true.
Because it takes time. It's a long process to find a
It is.
therapist. So it's a process to get your VA on board.
Yeah,
Go
it
on
is.
and start that process now.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, that's true. It's a process in the sense that it takes time to get them acclimated to you and to your standard, your SOPs and how you work things. But once that person is acclimated and they know,
Mhm.
it's at that point they already know they already know how to talk to you. They already know how to communicate with you. They already know your processes. They already know the client, the patient, to say. So I think that the process of hiring someone, training someone, is a process of patience, right? People want somebody built in already.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, VA have a certain knowledge, but they don't understand your processes. That's what people don't understand. It's about your processes because
Mhm.
we work with different clients, and every client have their own way of doing things.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's all about understanding that person's process,
Yes.
communication style, right? Expectations,
Mhm.
right? What is they looking for? What is their goal, right? One thing I never promise anybody is I'm going to get you XYZ of money because we cannot guarantee you that. But what we
Mhm.
can guarantee you is great service, right?
Mhm.
Be supportive, right? And be your listening ear, right? We can definitely do that. But the money you make is based on the activities that you do while you have a VA,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I always say, I'll get you 100,000. No, I can't do that. That's for you to do that, right?
Mhm.
That's for
Mhm.
you to go out there and get the $100,000 for my
Mhm.
support taking the things off of you, while you could go out there and network and build yourself and build your brand, right? And I even would say this: a VA is an extension of your brand, because when they come in contact with your patient, they're representing you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Karen, again.
Yeah,
We
great
appreciate
conversation. Thank you
your
for
time,
having me.
and we look forward to maybe doing this again. Because
Yeah.
'cause I think we need a reminder. So we're gonna look into we're gonna look into doing this again, maybe later on in the year if your time
Yes, 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 definitely.
allows it. But we thank you and look forward to talking to you and hopefully get some good feedback on the video because we aim to help.
Yes.
Like I said, we're in the service of helping. So hopefully this will help at least one person.
Yes, at least it will help one person. I think that's the goal. But thank you for having me, Carolyn. Great conversation. I enjoyed being here with you for today. So everybody have a great Saturday.
Have a great Saturday.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us at the Black Mental Health Forum. We hope today's discussion has provided valuable insights and support. Remember, you're not alone on this mental wellness journey. Stay connected with us for more resources, events, and support. Together, we can continue to break down barriers and prioritize mental health within the Black community. Take care of yourselves until next time. Remember that your mental health matters. Goodbye for now, and we look forward to seeing you soon at the next Black Mental Health Forum. Thank you.